Welcome to Wolf Haven International's Coastal Wolves presentation. Imagine for a minute, home is the only place you've ever known. You may have explored a little beyond home, but not much. You know where and how to get food and water, where the best places are to get out of the rain, take a nap, or maybe grab a snack. Now imagine you're ready to leave home, potentially for good. You're ready to start exploring the world around you and hopefully one day start a family of your own. Traveling to unknown areas means figuring out where to get food, where to stay the night, all those things that make a place a home. When you get to a new place that you feel comfortable in, you realize the food you are used to is sparse and difficult to find. Your skills for obtaining food at home don't really work in the new place. You have a decision to make. Do you stay? Do you keep searching for a place more like home? Do you turn around and head back home? If you decide to stay, what do you do to not go hungry? Maybe you watch the locals, see where they go, how they get food. That's what might happen if a wolf from mainland North America disperses and finds the central coast of British Columbia. Hunting skills that wolves use in the mainland, hunting large prey with their family, don't really work well that often along the coast. Coastal wolves don't rely as much, in some areas hardly at all, on ungulates like deer, elk, and moose, like their mainland kin. Though the diet varies a bit in either direction along the coast, one thing remains the same. Coastal wolves depend on food from the ocean. Like all wolves, coastal wolves aren't born with skills to hunt, only the instincts to. They learn from their parents how to catch the local food. For coastal wolves, that food source is often in the form of salmon, beaver, sea lions and seals, sometimes crabs, barnacles and mussels, even occasionally washed ashore whales. Before we take a closer look at these extraordinary wolves and some of their equally resilient mainland counterparts, let's look at a couple of definitions. When you see or hear a wolf, what do you see? What do you think about when you see them or hear them? What are some words you would describe them with? Let's take a step back. What do you already know about wolves? What is their family like? How far do they travel? What do they eat? They typically live in places like this. This is Yellowstone National Park, one of the best places in the lower 48 states to see wolves. Anything else you can think of? Do you know that wolves are adaptable? That makes them resilient. Let's look at those definitions. Gray wolf habitat can be found all over the northern hemisphere. Though they may look a little different, they're still wolves and they have lots in common. Two basic habitat requirements for any wolf are plenty of food and little or no human presence. They vary their territory size by the abundance of resources. They vary their litter and pack size based on the abundance of resources. They adapt to different terrains, different habitats, and different prey. Come with me on a journey as we take a look at wolves in North America. Take a trip to see some of the more unique populations of wolves. The first leg of our trip takes us to the northern Midwest. Voyageurs National Park, approximately 218,000 acres. That's approximately 340 square miles and slightly smaller than Kitsap County in Washington. More than 40% of it is water. It gets almost 24 inches of precipitation a year. It sees a little bit of human activity, but it has less than 10 miles of roads. In this park live 10 wolf packs. Wolves here rely on beaver. April to October, it makes up about 42% of a pack's diet. They ambush beaver and strike the beaver when they're on land. In July and August, they rely heavily on blueberries. Deer they also rely on. Moose, occasionally, These wolves rely on freshwater fish. As an example of prey abundance in Voyageurs National Park, all of the arrows in this photo point to active beaver lodges. Because of the abundance of beavers in the greater Voyageurs ecosystem, wolves rely heavily on them during the summer. In this photo, there are 9 active beaver lodges, and this isn't the entire park. Here's some interesting footage from Voyageurs Wolf Project. These wolves are actually eating blueberries. Okay, but what is a coastal wolf? Voyageurs Wolf Project has video footage of wolves actually fishing for freshwater fish. A coastal, or sea wolf, is a wolf who adapts to living on the edge of the mainland and the ocean, on the coast. Some coastal wolves live more inland than others, relying more on the regular prey and salmon coming upstream in the rivers during spawning season. Some coastal wolves live right on the water's edge, relying almost as much on what the ocean provides as what the land provides. This includes salmon, berries, bear, deer, things like that. Coastal wolves have been known to be about 20% smaller than most of our mainland wolves. Why do these wolves need to be so resilient? The normal prey, deer, elk, and moose, don't exist in abundance on these coastal habitats. Sometimes the islands are 7 miles apart that have deer on some and not on another. How do they feed their families? How do they take care of their young if their regular prey isn't available? Our next stop on this trip across North America is the Pacific Coast coastal wolves. First stop along this leg of our trip is the north, the Alexander Archipelago wolves. This archipelago is approximately 1,100 islands. That's about 28,000 square miles. It gets between 100 and 300 inches of precipitation a year. Human activity here has increased. Human residents have increased. The miles of roads have increased. The wolf population has been shown to be sensitive to the human activity and is decreasing. Wolves here rely on ungulates, though their salmon consumption increases when the population of salmon is up and the ungulate population is low. When the opportunity arises, these wolves may prey on whale carcasses. Most of the time, though, it's black-tailed deer, beaver, mountain goat, moose, sometimes salmon, harbor seals, small mammals, birds, and even marine invertebrates. Next stop, the Central Coast. Salmon is a big part of their diet September through November. Deer and other typical prey are still a large part of their diet, though. 83% of scat contain deer, 93% in the summer. Beaver, bird, black bear, goat, and garbage were also found by some research. Here on the coast, it's approximately 247,105 square miles, just slightly smaller than Texas. A temperate rainforest getting 260 inches of precipitation a year, much like Mount Olympus in the Olympic National Park. It has little human activity, about 25,000 people, very few roads, and wolves don't often see people. Wolves here rely on salmon, deer, and other typical prey. You might have heard this area called the Great Bear Rainforest. Last stop on our trip across North America is the Pacific coast of British Columbia, Vancouver Island specifically, just north of Washington State. This area is approximately 12,080 square miles and about half the size of Western Washington. It gets an average of 142 inches of precipitation a year. This island has spots with human activity. At the last census, there were 760,000 people, 290 miles of roads. Wolves on this island are very wary of people and typically stay in the northern part and the west side of the north, where fewer people are. Wolves rely on salmon, accounting for nearly a quarter of their diet. Beyond that, they forage on barnacles, clams, herring eggs, seals, river otters, and even whale carcasses. Like most wolves in North America, they have concerns. Their populations, their habitats, their hunting space is affected by logging, human expansion, garbage, a decline in prey, especially salmon right now, direct mortality due to roads and hunting, and restricted habitat due to human populations.